everyone, welcome back to Rima Reads. I'm gonna go through my October wrap-up today. I read 6 books in the month of October, which was less than my intended amount. I didn't get to 3 of the books on my TBR, but I am still pretty happy with the 6 that I read. The first book I read in October was The Graveyard Book by Neil Gaiman, and this was like a perfect book to start out October. It is about a boy who, as a baby, he was adopted by some ghosts who live in this graveyard. He grew up in the graveyard with his ghost parents and a whole bunch of ghosts teaching him. He's told to be careful outside of the graveyard because they're all worried that the murderer who killed his family will be coming after him as well. It's a really fun middle grade book about a boy who grew up with ghosts and gets up to all of these ghostly adventures, and then also has to deal with, the murderer of his family. I thought it was a really fun time. The book had fun little cute illustrations in there, little bit spooky but not scary in any ways. Pretty dark for a middle grade book, but a lot of middle grade books are dark, so that's fine. Brutal murder, whatever. And so I enjoyed it. It was a good read. I ended up giving it 4 out of 5 stars. I think it's a great October book to read. The next book I read was An Enchantment of Ravens by Margaret Rogerson. It is about this girl, Isabel, who is an artist for the Fae folk, so like fairies. And the Fae in this world can't create, they're not allowed to do crafts, so they can't like make art or like even cook food, make metal. So they're very much about like getting humans to do art for them, very into the crafts. And Isabel is the best artist in the town for painting Fae folk. One day, the Autumn King, I can't remember if he's a prince or a king, but I think he's a king. The king of the Autumn Court visits her and asks for a portrait, and she ends up painting him with emotions. And so it causes this whole big deal, and he has to bring her back to the Fae court in order to solve this tarnished reputation that was caused based off of her painting. And I thought this was a really fun book. I haven't read that many like Fae fairy novels, so I thought it was very creative. I really liked how the Fae were portrayed as like these immortal, unchanging, but also like unfeeling sort of people. And I liked that whole concept of like they can't do the crafts, but humans can, and it was just really cool in my mind. Isabel, who is our main character, she has a very like good, strong, solid head on her shoulders, which I enjoyed. She's very sensible, so I really like that about her. And I thought the love story was cute and enjoyable. The best part about this book is just like the writing style and the atmospheric read of it. It feels very autumn, and it's just written so beautifully. It was really a fun book to read. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. There's nothing really wrong with it. It just didn't like blow my mind, but 4 out of 5 is still like a good book that I enjoyed. So 4 out of 5 stars. I do recommend reading this. The next book I read was Woven in the Moonlight by Isabel Ibanez. Now, this book is about a girl named Zemina, and I'm not 100% sure I'm pronouncing her name right, so sorry if I'm not. But Zemina, who is the fake Condessa, so she's like a decoy Condessa for these people, the Illustrians, and essentially they were overthrown out of their city back when she was younger, and they have been in hiding, trying to regain the actual Contessa Catalina's throne. So basically, the guy who overthrew them, Atok, overthrew them using like this army of ghosts. And so he demands a Condessa's hand in marriage for like evil reasons, legitimacy of the throne, you know, he's a bad guy. And so Zemina, who is the decoy, goes in her place, in Catalina's place, and decides that she is going to try and steal the device that created this army of ghosts so that Catalina can come in and take over this city and basically restore her place on the throne. I thought it was very, very interesting how our main character was not the actual, like, Condessa, like, she was a decoy, not actually, like, the princess or the heroine. I thought that was very, very unique for a book. I don't think I've seen anything like that before, and a lot of the book is her struggling of, like, what's her true role, because she has all this, like, fake power that comes from behind being the Condessa, but she isn't actually the Contessa, and she doesn't actually have that power, and a lot of her is like struggling between that. I feel like it would have been stronger if Catalina wasn't so much of a like weak character. I really like the thing Isabella Bonis was trying to do with this book about talking about oppression and who has the right to rule. She did some very interesting things with the Elistarians and the folks that took over from them. I do appreciate that a lot. I also really like that Zemina was like, El Lobo is this thief. I wonder which of the three guys I know he is. And I was like, that's what I was thinking too, girl. That's what I was thinking. So, same logic. The magic system in this book is a very like soft magic system. They don't really explain too much about how it happens, but it is cool. Like, Zemina can weave moonlight into like knitting, and she basically like gets moon dust and moon knitting, and I don't really know how it works, but it was really cool. And everyone has like different magic, which also isn't explained very much. It's a very soft magic system, so you're not going to get much explanation on that. So I really appreciated what Isabella Bonis was doing with the discussion of oppression and like whose land this should be, like who owns the land and who should be the rightful king or queen of this city. I could see how it would relate to Bolivia, because this book is based off of Bolivian history and politics, and I believe the Elistarians are supposed to be like the Spanish European settlers, and the folks who took over the city, whose name I can't remember, are like the native indigenous Bolivians. And so I thought that was very cool what she did with that, and I really liked her message at the end. And it's also like kind of an important time in Bolivian politics right now. Did end up giving it 3.5 stars. I feel like I didn't really connect with any of the characters. Like none of them really spoke to me. I was kind of just like, oh, okay. Don't really care. No, I didn't really connect with any of the characters at all. I didn't care about their like struggles or anything like that. And I also felt like Zemina's change throughout the book and her character development felt a little like rushed and forced. And so while I did really like what Isabella Bonis was doing with this book, and I thought parts of it were really, really good, I did think that the characters could have used more work. So overall, 3.5 out of 5 stars. So the next book I read was A Song of Wrath and Ruin by Roseanne A. Brown. And like, this is a hot book right now. So I was very, very excited to read it because I've only heard good things. And it was a really good book. This book follows 2 points of view. It follows Malik, who is basically he's part of a class that, like, one of the underclass, like, part of a lower class of people in this magic country based off of West Africa. So he's a refugee trying to get into the city of Ziron and hopefully move his family up to a better place in life. He is the middle child. Ooh, middle child rep. I love it so much. Okay, he is a middle child. He has an older sister and a younger sister, and he is very, like, anxious, gets very much in his head. He has like a lot of anxiety. So he's trying to get into the city, and his sister gets kidnapped. His little sister gets kidnapped by this demon thing, and essentially the demon and Malik made a deal that if Malik was able to kill the princess with this special knife he gave him, so he's like, you stab this princess with the special knife and I will give you your sister back. And so Malik, essentially new to this city, has to work to try and get close to the princess and kill her in order to save his little sister. The other point of view is our princess, Karina. Her mom is the queen, and she's like well respected. I wouldn't say ruthless, but like very stern, strict, like good leader. I don't know about good either, but like leader of this country. And Karina is sort of like a hot mess, according to everyone ever. She is not a good princess, and she's still struggling after her father and her older sister died in an accident years ago. She's still struggling to come with the terms that she is now, next in line for the throne after her mother and be the one that has to take over. And she does that. Like, she rebels a lot against that. She's just like not ready to be a queen. Unfortunately, her mother dies in an assassination, leaving Karina to be queen of this country. And she learns about this spell that she can do to resurrect the dead, and she needs the heart of a king to do it. So she decides she's going to marry whoever wins this week-long competition that they have. So whoever wins this week-long competition in the city, she'll marry, and then he'll be king, and then she can kill him to resurrect her mother. And so she is trying to kill whoever wins this competition, and Malik ends up joining this competition because he's like, this is a good way to get close to the queen, and then maybe I can kill her. So that's essentially the plot of the book, and it's a really good book. The world is built off of West Africa, and it's really cool. It's really rich world building, and I did enjoy that a lot. I loved Malik as a character. Like, he has a lot of anxiety. He's a very like soft boy, which I love, and so I really enjoyed his points of view. And Karina is just like a hot mess, which was also fun to read. The plot was engaging. This competition that Malik is going through and Karina is hosting had cool challenges, and it was very engaging to see what was going to happen between these two characters. So overall, I really did enjoy this book, but I did end up giving it 4 out of 5 stars, and that was because I did not like the romance in this book at all. It was just way too rushed, because I told you guys, like, they both out here trying to kill each other at the beginning of this book. This competition takes place 1 week. So this entire book takes place over the course of 1 week, and these characters don't actually like interact until well past the halfway point of this book also. And so this like enemies to lovers relationship was just way too rushed in my mind. I feel like, actually, I'm gonna go into some spoilers. So spoiler time, skip ahead to a time that I will post below and probably up here too. Spoilers. So early on in the book, Malik like attempts to kill Karina, and I was like shook because I did not expect him to just be like that down for murder so early in the book and like get really close to it. And so I kind of expected that energy. Like, I expected that energy from Malik throughout the entire book, because like his little sister's life is on the line here. He needs to murder Karina. And so the fact that he had like 6 other attempts, okay, not like 6, like 3 other attempts to try and kill Karina, and he just like didn't do it, but he was so down for murder the first time, just like it drove me crazy. Like, I was just like, you could stab her right now and save your sister, but you're not doing it. Oh my god. It drove me insane. I feel like there are personally a couple things I would have done to strengthen like the love that forms between them, or not even love. I probably would just remove the love portion altogether. But when they first meet, which is well over the halfway point of the book, they don't know who each other are. Karina's in disguise, and she just doesn't recognize Malik as the competitor in the games. And so I thought like they were gonna have like this deep emotional connection during this time, and that would like spark their whole like love interest journey. But they really just talk for like a half hour, and then realize who each other are. And so I thought that was very weak. I would have made their conversation bonding longer and stronger, just to make it more realistic in terms of switching the perspectives from down to murder to, hey, maybe not so much murder. The other thing I just did not like is, like I mentioned, that Malik had so many opportunities to kill Karina that he did not take. And I actually think the book would have been stronger if he had less opportunities to kill her. Like if like the first 2 opportunities he had alone with her, like for some reason like he just couldn't kill her because there were like too many people around and it wasn't safe and blah 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 blah, instead of whatever lame excuses he gave, and then only give that like 3rd opportunity in the underground area where they're trapped where he didn't kill her, because that would have made like the struggle, I don't know, a bit more real. Like the fact that he already had 3 attempts to murder her and didn't do it like brought a lot of the tension down. I think if we only had that one and then the ending, it would have brought the tension way higher. And then in terms of Karina, I actually feel like it's kind of insane to me that she picked Malik over the other dude in the competition. Like this dude was her like ex-lover who she likes as a human, and then there's Malik, who's this guy she's known for like 2 days who saved her life, and she's like, I'm in love with that guy, so I'm not gonna kill him, and I'm gonna kill my ex-lover who I actually really like as a person. And that was just wild to me. I think what should have happened is her ex-lover won the race, not Malik, so she was forced to choose him, and then she realizes, hey, I can't go through with this. And I don't know, I think that would have been stronger. It's just way, way, way too rushed. Like, they didn't even need the love story. It could have just been Malik's like, I realize I'm not really down to kill people because killing is kind of really difficult. And Karina I liked Karina's realization of, yeah, it's not like worth killing to bring back my mother. Like, that was good. But it wasn't even with Malik, it was with this other dude, and I don't know, I didn't like it. So that was my only like one issue with this book. But otherwise, it was really good. It had a couple plot twists, and like the world building was so cool, and I did really, really love Malik as a character. So I'm excited to read the next book. We'll definitely do it. Even though I don't like the love story, it's fine. So the next book I read was Shorefall by Robert Jackson Bennett. It is the sequel to Foundryside, which I loved, and I also loved this book. I did a whole like review video on it because I had a lot of thoughts. Like, it's a really, really good sequel, and it didn't do all of the characterization stuff I hoped they would do in the book, but it was still like amazing. So if you guys like, you know, found family tropes, cool magic system, anti-capitalism, and I don't know, just like fun creative writing, like I definitely recommend this series. I did give it 5 out of 5. So the last book I read in October is The Bone Houses by Emily Lloyd Jones. This book follows 2 points of view. It follows Adrienne, or Rin, who is a gravedigger, and she essentially, her parents passed away when she was younger, and she is the oldest of 3 siblings, and she works as a gravedigger, and she loves being a gravedigger. But unfortunately, the dead keep coming back to life. She's out here trying to stop the dead from coming back to life, while less and less people in her small village town use her grave digging services because they're worried about the dead coming back to life. So they're like, we're gonna burn this body, not bury it. So they're struggling with making ends meet. Like, she really loves her home. She doesn't want to lose it because that's where her parents made their life, and she really loves grave digging. And then our second point of view is Elias, who is a map maker trying to learn more about his past. He ends up coming to Rin's town, and they meet and decide to go on an adventure in the mountains. He wants to map it out because whoever can map out the mountains would be a very impressive map maker, and she wants to go to try and break the curse that's bringing back the dead. And so I really liked this book. I think it was a perfect like end to October because it was like, you know, dead coming back to life. It was very, very Halloween themed. I did enjoy that a lot. I liked Rin and Elias as characters. I really liked their love story a lot. Like, they start off with like mutual respect and fall in love, and I thought it was very cute and well done. Elias as a character has chronic pain, which was very nice to see that representation in a book. And I thought their whole adventure was fun. There were a couple plot twists that I did not expect, and there were a couple plot twists I did expect. I really liked that it was based off of Welsh culture, because there's a lot of fantasy books that like take little aspects of Welsh culture. Like, a lot of fantasy names you see are just like Welsh names that they like authors think, you know, sound fun and strange, and then they'll stick them into fantasy novels, or they'll take like little bits of Welsh culture but not really like pay homage to Wales or anything like that. So it was nice to see a book that like is 100% based off of Welsh culture and like honoring it instead of just like taking little bits and pieces, and thought that was very interesting. My one complaint on this book was the character backgrounds. So I thought the author did a very good job of like building the characters in terms of like where they are today and the progression in the book, but the backstories for the characters were like pretty weak. Like, she did sort of an introductory chapter on their backstories, and it was written like telling a story to a person. Like, if someone was telling you, hey, this X person had X thing happen to them, and that's kind of how we learned about their backstory instead of like how the actual characters experienced it. And I felt like that brought a bit of weakness, particularly for Elias's backstory. You didn't really feel for Elias and his backstory as much as you could have I feel like if we were shown it instead of told it. And I think the backstories were the weakest part of this book, but it was still very enjoyable. I think it was a great end to October, and I definitely would recommend this book. So 4 out of 5 stars. And yeah, those are the 6 books I read in the month of October. I'm very happy with these books. Kind of spooky, a little bit, somewhat spooky. Hope you guys enjoyed my October wrap up. Let me know if you read any of these books and what your thoughts were. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Bye.